Hey everyone, welcome back to TCO Performance Center, joined now by Vikings wide receivers coach Darrell Hazell. Hey coach, how we doing?
I'm doing great, how are you?
All right, we're doing awesome. I want to talk a little Vikings wide receivers.
Love it.
Thought we'd bring in the in-house expert on the topic, that is you. How do you feel about your position group here as we approach the summer break before camp?
Well, I tell you what, I have a tremendous group, and what makes those guys so special is how hard they work every single day. Diggsy's been the energy of the room, and Thielen's been the brains of the room, and they're bringing all those young guys along, and they're starting to get how we need to play and the speed that we need to play and all the things that we need to do.
It's truly a dynamic duo, Diggs and Thielen. I feel like you can sort of mix and match those guys where you put them on the field, and they're both really good contributors for us.
You know what? It's a very unique situation because they're completely different type of players, but yet they play so well off of each other.
Yeah.
It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you appreciate maybe about the way Adam Thielen carries himself? You know, because I mean, he basically was a tryout player, and I know that you know his career arc. But
certainly.
Now he's a top 50 player in the NFL basically.
Well, to his credit, he's made himself into this caliber of player in this league. He's done everything the right way. He's a great teammate. He's a tremendous worker, and he's a giver. He gives back to the rest of the room all of his acknowledgement and experience. He's done a good job that way.
I saw a statistic from Pro Football Focus on Stefon Diggs, who led the NFL in contested catches last season.
Yeah.
That probably doesn't surprise you, but what is it about his game? Because he's not a big Julio Jones, Calvin Johnson type of receiver that can go up and box you out, but yet he leads the NFL in that category.
That does not surprise me. The thing about contested catches is you have to be able to play relaxed when you're getting rubbed up against. Guys are leaning against you all the time. You have to be able to relax your body and really track the ball well. And he tracks the deep ball as well as anybody I've been around.
And what's the challenge with tracking a deep ball?
Well, it's once again, you got to be able to close to wherever that ball is, and you got to accelerate to it. But then you have to have great concentration and really watch the front part of that ball.
Yeah, there's been some moments in the spring here where Cousins has put one out there for Diggsy to go get, and he does.
And you know what? Probably half the team didn't think he could get there, but he got there.
Yeah.
That's what makes him pretty special.
A lot of fans ask me about Laquon Treadwell. And so I want to ask you about him and what you've seen from him in the spring. He's a guy that seems like is working his tail off every single day in practice, and maybe he'll get some opportunities here this season, right?
Well, I think he deserves it right now. He's had tremendous growth in the offseason. He's worked tremendously hard. He's learning how to play in confined areas, and that was one of the things I thought was lacking when I watched this film when I first got here a year and a half ago. I thought that he needed to find out how to play around people. He's done a good job there. He's still not exactly where we need him to be by next fall, but we'll get him there.
Yeah, it seems like, for the, whatever you want to call it, the wide receiver 3 spot, or if you guys keep 6, wide receivers 3 through 6, really thick competition.
Very
right?
thick. Yeah, it's a very healthy competition. There's a lot of candidates in the 3, 4, 5 spot. You have Stacy Coley, who unfortunately had a little bit of injury this spring, who was really doing a good job the first couple days. You got Brandon Zylstra. You got TK coming out. I mean, and there's a thick, like you said, there's a thick group of good players right there.
A name that fans will know, even though we didn't draft him, is Kendall Wright. I mean, he's a guy who's been around the block a little bit. In fact, played for the Bears last season. He's in that group too. Right?
He is in that group, and he's the oldest guy in the room, so he's got some experience there as a veteran, 27-year-old guy or 28-year-old guy that's been in the league for 7 years.
With the story of Adam Thielen and the hometown product, right, who comes and ends up being a star for the Vikings, Brandon Zylstra is a name on a lot of fans' minds, and so is Jake Wieneke, also from Minnesota. What's been your impressions of those two guys? Because I know people watching right now watched those guys in high school and college. So.
Brandon's played a year obviously in professional football up in Canada, so he's got some game footage to represent himself. He's going to be a good player. He plays fast. He's a bigger body. He's strong. So he's got a chance to really help us. And then we're still trying to figure out where Jake is right now. He's working hard. He's a great guy to have in the room, and it's very important to him.
Yeah. What's it been like working with John DeFilippo? You guys bring back a lot of continuity on offense, but he's kind of a new, he's a newer piece, obviously.
Yeah,
so.
He's brought some great ideas. I think that's going to help us in the run game as well as the passing game. He listens to everybody in the room, and he's done a good job of really, in the transition, bringing some great ideas and allowing the coaches in the room to have input.
As a whole offense, when you guys get together and talk about what you want to look like, not the plays you're going to run or the scheme, but just what you want to look like as an offense, what is that?
I think we always have to be physical. You have to be able to run the ball in this league. It's just too hard to drop back and throw it and protect the quarterback all those times. So you have to be able to run the ball. Obviously, what comes off the run is play action passes, and that's something that Coach Zim stresses all the time. But just be a very sound, don't beat yourself offense with all the schemes, the elaborate schemes that we have. We got to make sure we don't beat ourselves.
I know in this game you always want to stay in your lane, but Vikings fans want to know, how does Kirk Cousins look? And they can't wait to come watch him at training camp. But you've already seen a bunch of them, so what do you think?
I think he's spectacular. I really do. I think that he throws one of the best deep balls I've seen maybe ever. And we got guys that can go and get it. But his sense of timing, his sense of where people are on the field defensively, where they're dropping in zone coverages, I think he's a cut above, and I love being around him because he's got some enthusiasm too. He's got some energy that you love for our guys to have.
Well, you guys have had a great spring, so I hope you enjoy your summer break, and I know you'll be back here working hard at training camp. So thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate you.